Ooh, what's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salute, salute, salute. Cheers. Oh, yes, yes, sir. Let me just share this in social media. So, hello, guys. I hope you guys are doing great, having a great week. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I had some things to attend to, but we're back. Yes, sir. Okay. And today we have an amazing subject for you. But before we go there, let me just share this in social media. Okay, this is important. And I got to say that yesterday was um, the anniversary of the senior grandmaster Ed Parker's passing on December 15th of 1990, 31 years ago. So it's been 31 years already. Oh my God. Time flies, huh? And a lot of us didn't get to meet the man, but a lot of you did. So if you want to share any experiences, please do so. We already have interviewed a lot of the Kenpo seniors and a lot of the people that train directly with Mr. Parker. And we are honored to be a part of his legacy, to keep the flame burning and spreading the fire. Yes, sir. Okay. So um, we have a good subject for you today, and let me share that with you. Okay, that's it. We're going to talk about Kenpo and its effectiveness against a trained opponent. Okay, so it's Kenpo. Is Kenpo effective versus somebody who is trained and proficient in the martial arts? Yes or no? So please send your comments. Um, I would like to hear your opinion about this. Of course, I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of Kenpo. I'm a Kenpo guy, but I would like to hear your thoughts and ideas about all this. Okay, and it is important because I think there are a lot of things, a lot of people talking about this. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube that I will share a little bit about them, and uh, people were sharing them on Facebook. And I think it's important to address this, okay? Because we are Kempoists, right? Or Kempokas, or whatever you want to call it. And well, this is important to us. Okay, so let's see. We already have some comments. Sean Wald, only if you believe in Kenpo. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, and if you don't believe in Kenpo, but you train at it and you know how to apply it, well, I guess you have to believe, huh? Yes, yes. But I'm a believer. That's for sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing. So, before we start with the subject, let me just say that we are going live to our Facebook page, Master Frank Soto Kinetic Dragon. So please like and subscribe the page and share this video. That's really that really helps with the algorithm, and so we can reach more people. We're also going live through the International Hall of Fame of Argentina. Nice group of martial artists that always, promote the arts down south, down in the Latin countries for the world. Okay. We're also going live through our Kinetic Dragon YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, the Kinetic Dragon. Please look for the channel. Kinetic Dragon, remember, is my brand. Okay. Kinetic mean motion. Dragon meaning the highest level of motion that you can achieve. Okay. Good. So, please leave your comment, ask your questions. I would love to hear what you have to say about this subject. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the effectiveness of Kenpo. Okay, but before we go there, let me just share. There was this guy on the internet, on YouTube, talking about. I hope. Let's see if we can find the video. Okay. There was this guy talking about, does Kenpo techniques work? Okay. Actually, what he was saying is that Kenpo doesn't work. Okay. So I'm not going to put the video because I don't want to have copyright. Why not? Okay. Let's see. Here we go.
Here's ultimately my problem with.
Okay, so there we go. Let me just share this with you so we can talk about this. Okay, share screen. There we go. Okay, there was this gentleman. I don't know his name, but he's talking about Kenpo techniques don't work, and he was responding to Art of One Dojo. Okay, so I think that will be Sensei Dan, right? So he's channel. It's combat self defense, and I got to say thank you, sir, for the video. Okay, and we appreciate your inputs and comments. I hope you don't mind. I'm sharing this on screen a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not going to put any audio or anything. Just talking about a little bit of does Kenpo work or not. His name is Roland, like he said on screen. So he has this channel, and actually this video, it was popular within the Kenpo guys, and he's talking about the Kenpo techniques, right? So enough said. He claims that Kenpo techniques don't work. Okay, so they only work against somebody who's not trained. That's what he said. Okay, Marcel de Jong, maestro. I'm sure the effectiveness of any martial art depends on the practitioner. Yes, sir. But it depends on the art. Agree. That is, if the art itself has in itself to allow the practitioner to employ the techniques, and Kenpo does for sure. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, you beat me to it. I'm going to get there. But yes, to begin with, it's not about the art. It's about the practitioner. Yes. So you cannot blame Kenpo. If you're not making your Kenpo work against a trained opponent, it means that you're not training properly, first of all. Now, Kenpo techniques are created for you to learn the vocabulary of motion, okay? It gives you a point of reference or a starting point. And from there, you learn how to move. You learn how to, you learn all these concepts and principles of motion. But then you go, Kenpo is divided into 3 different areas, right? So we have basic fundamentals. That's the first step. Then self-defense techniques. That's the second step. And then we have freestyle or fighting. Okay, if you're not taking your basic fundamentals into your self-defense, you're doing something wrong, right? And if you're not taking your self-defense combos and timing and everything you learn into your freestyle, there's also something wrong with you. Okay, you're not doing it properly, because that's the progression. Mr. Parker laid it out in a very nice way. He did an amazing job with his system, with his method, with the curriculum, and it's all there. Okay, so you got to go from basics, fundamentals, which you have to train and master, then go into the self-defense techniques and also master them, and then take them into freestyle so you can generate your own or you can tailor Kenpo to yourself, what I call the unique martial expression. Okay, you can generate your own unique way of executing and moving with the tool, with Kenpo, right? So for you to be able to do this, okay, first of all, this guy was complaining that, they're in Kenpo, you throw a strike and the guy starts doing a technique, whatever, right? Okay, so that's the first level. That's the first step. When somebody dummies up for you, that's why we call it dumming up, right? So the other person becomes a dummy, okay? So he throws a strike or grabs you or pushes you or kicks you or whatever, throws an attack, and then he stands there or she stands there for you so you can apply the technique. That's the first level of training. Okay, and it's important, and it's called the ideal phase, right? And then he went and criticized the what if phase and the formulation phase because, well, yes, I agree. When you're fighting, you don't have time to think, right? But the what if phase is for you to start applying the concepts and principles that you learn in a technique also in a training scenario. So when you're at the dojo, when you're training, it's time for you to think. It's time for you to question. Now, when you're fighting, either on in the cage or on the ring or on the streets, then it's time to execute. It's time to just flow, move, and solve the problem. There's no time to think there, not anymore, okay? But when you're training, you need to question what you're doing and you need to understand what you're doing. That's important, okay? And that's where the techniques are good, because it will give you a point of reference and it will teach you how to move in a certain way. There is a language and there is a a matrix of Kenpo, okay, within the universal pattern of Kenpo and all of that all Kenpo guys know. But there is a certain way that you move the hand, that you move the feet, and you move your body and stuff. That's in the basics, right? So you get the basics, you apply them in the techniques, and then you have to take them to freestyle. But one of the things that I hear about some of the Kenpo guys is that freestyle techniques they don't work, or they are what's the word, outdated. They're not because they're teaching you how to take your techniques, your self-defense, the stuff, the moves that you learn, the combos that you learn in self-defense, and put them into fighting, okay, where you're not reacting, you are attacking, okay, you're taking the initiative. Maybe it's a preemptive or just an entry, and you're controlling the distance in a different way. Because in self-defense, there's always an attack, right? Remember the nature of the attack. So there's always a grab or a push or a punch or a kick or whatever. And then there is the reaction, whether you're striking somebody against a push, or you're blocking a strike, or you're moving out of the way and deviating a kick or whatever, okay? Danny Arnold says, I see the same argument from MMA gym dude bros all the time. I just leave the topic alone when they start trying to pick a quarrel. I'm not going to convince them anyway, so I just don't argue with them. Yes, sir. Yes, thank you. But still, I like I said, I wanted to address this because I saw a video on YouTube, and it still bothers me in a way. But see, it's not Kenpo's fault, okay? And one of the arguments that I hear a lot is when they say, American Kenpo, for example, I'm going to talk about American Kenpo, okay? Because that's my foundation. Or Ed Parker's Kenpo doesn't work in the cage or on the ring because the creator of the art, or the founder of American Kenpo, the late senior grandmaster Ed Parker, wasn't a fighter. Okay, he was not a tournament fighter, but he was a tournament promoter and a coach. And he created the biggest event back in the 60s and the 70s, the International Karate Championship, which was the karate tournament to go to, okay? That was the tournament, okay? So, of course, he believed in sport fighting, okay? Or tournament fighting, okay? And he also had a lot of students, Kenpo practitioners, Kenpo students, that did very well in that tournament and other tournaments as well. So, does him not fighting mean that his Kenpo doesn't work? No, he was also the head coach of the Budweiser team, Team Budweiser. Remember, with students or fighters like Billy Blanks, Benny the Jet Urquidez, the late Frank Trejo. I mean, top fighters, right? Who were students of Mr. Parker. So, okay, let's see. Maestro William Larry Kongaika. Hello, sir. Senior Grandmaster said, we use the variable strikes that we learn from all the different techniques. Thank you, sir. Using bits and pieces of move from any technique for the situation you're in at that particular moment of time. That was paraphrased. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes. Excellent. Gracias. Maestro Miguel Arroyo. Saludos. Kenpo is one of the most comprehensive street self-defense system I have ever done. Yes, thank you, sir. Well structured and it's in constant growth. When you stick to its concept, Kenpo also gives you the freedom of self-expression once you master all its fundamentals. Salud, Master Frank. Happy holidays. Greeting from Texas. Thank you. Gracias. Salud to Texas. Yes, sir. Thank you. Amazing. Yes. See, there you go. Okay, so it's a very comprehensive system. Okay, and you use the variable strikes that you learn from all the different techniques, like Mr. Kongaika said. Thank you, Maestro. And you use bits and pieces of those moves from any technique, okay? And you apply them in a situation. So, can you apply them into fighting? Yes, you can. Can you apply them in sparring? Yes, you can. And there are no excuses, okay? Because we also hear excuses from some Kenpo guys that says, oh, you cannot apply Kenpo in a tournament fight. Well, maybe not in point sparring. Yes, I agree. But, I'm sorry, could you apply them in MMA? Maybe you could, okay? There are some MMA fighters, okay, that are Kenpo-based, or they use the Kenpo Foundation, okay? Some good ones, right? So, Ernesto Colbrenner, saludos, maestro Brazo Corazón, saludos, gracias. So, hold on, cheers. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. So, uh, I hear this a lot, that Kenpo doesn't work. So, Kenpo does work in against a trained opponent. It has to. It should work. Now, Kenpo was not created by Mr. Parker. He created the American version of it. He created his own curriculum, American Kenpo. But Kenpo, it's an ancient art, okay? So it comes from Japan, then it goes back to China, then it goes back to India, it goes all the way back. So Mr. Parker did a very good job with the American version of it. He did an application. Okay, Mr. Kongaika says, Kenpo is a system, not a style. Yes, sir, thank you. Memorize the technique first to learn everything it has to offer, then personalize them, believe in the process. Gracias. Yes, yes. So that's why you learn the technique, like I was saying. Thank you, maestro. Okay? You memorize the technique, and then but you have to take them, see, into freestyle. Okay? You have to generate your own style and feel free to do that. That's why you have tools like the equation formula that allows you to do this, okay, in a systematic way. Thank you, sir, because it is a system. Yes, sir. Danny Arnold says, I love Benny the Jet. Yes, thank you. Tell Benny the Jet he couldn't fight. This is why the keyboard warriors are idiots. Oh, come on. Yeah, Benny the Jet, I'm a fan. Yes, definitely one of the best fighters out there. Yes, in the martial arts history. Modern history, I should say. So, Kenpo is a system. That's right. Thank you, Mr. Kongaika. And yes, you have to believe and trust the process, mostly. But you also need to take Kenpo into the next level. If you're just sticking with the techniques, if you're just using the self-defense technique and doing the like Kenpo, the technique line, for example, and all that stuff, that's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. But that's the first level. Then you need to take it to the next level. Okay. And how do you do that? Well, start adding variables. For example, okay, when you're doing a technique and you're dumbing up, you throw a strike and you let the person do the technique on you. Okay. Then that's the what if. The what if, it's adding variables. What if the hand is here? Or what if he throws a second strike? So you start doing stress inoculation, basically. Okay. So the person can solve the problem in real time, okay, without thinking. Just come up with a response, flow into the next move, into the next move, into the next move. And that comes from learning the techniques, okay, because the techniques will show you this. Will give you that, not all the variables, but the foundation for you to be able to solve using the Kenpo tools. Basically, that's what it is. So you need to master the application of Kenpo, okay, so you can take it into that level, okay. So there are a lot of good Kenpo guys out there that are doing very good sparring or fighting sessions. A group that really focuses a lot on fighting, and they do a good job with their version of it. It's the group of the Maestro Jeff Spigman group, Kenpo 5.0. Okay, and they have added, the ground game, and I think they're doing a great job with what they're doing. So congratulations, guys. Okay. And they're taking Kenpo into that next level, I believe so. And they're not the only ones, of course. It's just an example. Mr. Kongaika says each phase builds upon each other. Yes, they're building blocks. Thank you, sir. Okay. And I think Mr. Parker did an amazing job setting up those building blocks and setting the system in a certain way. So there are other guys that says that 24 techniques are too much. They're not enough. There should be more. No, they're enough, but there could be more. So 24 techniques, it's good because it's not about being in a hurry to learn the techniques. No, it's like Mr. Kongaika said, it's about the process, okay? So trust the process, learn the techniques, learn the forms, learn the sets, and then learn the freestyles as well. Learn how to formulate. Learn the moves, B1A, all that stuff. That's also good, okay? Sean Wald says that is a part of the problem. People only understand and move at the beginner level, and they claim it doesn't work. Yes, Yes, I also heard another Kenpo guy who was a Kenpo guy, and then he became a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, and he said that Kenpo was a waste of time. Oh man, come on! I mean, maybe it was a waste of time for him. I cannot argue with that, but the reason why Kenpo was not working for him is because he didn't take it to the next level. You have to take it to that next level. Ideal phase, what if phase, and formulation phase. Yes, sir. Those are the three phases of the techniques. Exactly. So learn the techniques the way it was written or set up in the manuals or whatever, and then start asking questions and start adding variables, and then you formulate, right? You formulate answers for those variables, and that has to be done in the dojo. Okay. That way, when you're in the streets or in a tournament, then you can generate your own formulations, but without thinking about it, because you don't have time to think, to formulate in the street. You just have to flow and respond. And that's when you're doing your training and you have done your homework, because the way you train, that's the way you're going to fight. Thank you. Maestro Larry says, I agree, Sean. Those who say it doesn't work are still on the top surface. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, exactly. So could we adapt and use Kenpo in a tournament? Of course. Yes. Now, what do you need to make Kenpo work for you in a tournament fighting, or, well, maybe not point sparring, but MMA or something like that? Well, first of all, you need to condition yourself. That's one of the things. A lot of Kenpo guys, not just Kenpo guys, a lot of martial artists who are not fighters or are not in that fighting age, they don't train or they don't condition themselves as much as they used to. And I understand, I'm not judging anybody, but I'm saying, if you want to make it work against a trained opponent in the cage or on the ring, you need to condition yourself, but you need to condition yourself with Kenpo, not kickboxing. You don't have to do, why go back to kickboxing when you already have the Kenpo tool? Okay. Marshall Rao says to expand on Mr. Wall said. Okay. Maybe he's going to say something. So, and thank you everybody who's commenting. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think this is a very important topic. And I was a little bit upset to hear about this guy. Yeah, typing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm waiting. Okay. Okay. So, this is something truly important, because then I have heard, and this is something that really bothers me, when I heard Kenpo guys that says that Kenpo only works against an untrained assailant or an untrained aggressor. Okay. Well, your Kenpo might just work against an untrained aggressor, but you should train to be able to fight somebody who's at their top level of their game. Okay. And if your Kenpo doesn't work for that, then you need to train more. Yes. And you need to get in better shape, and you need to work out, and you need to practice your techniques and your kata and your basics and your freestyle. And you need to do some sparring, and also use like focus mitts, use the tools that any fighter uses, but with Kenpo movements and Kenpo foundation and bits and pieces of the Kenpo techniques, right? You don't have to block all the time. You can just start with a strike, for example, or just going with the hand sword and then do part of the techniques, and they will work. Okay. These are moves that are very much studied, okay, because they're based upon ancient wisdom. Mr. Parker didn't come up with this. Not like that. He created the system. Yes. The American Kenpo curriculum. Yes. But he didn't make it out of nothing. He had teachers. Okay. And he was a very smart man, a very intelligent man. And he looked around and created his own thing. Okay. Let's see. Salvador Becerra said, Mr. Frank Soto, have you ever practiced different lineage of Kenpo? Yes, sir. I have. Yes. I have trained American Kenpo. I have also trained Polynesian Lima Lama, which is some type of Kenpo-ish or similar, and also trained Kosho Shorei Ryu. Yes, sir. Thank you for asking. Marcel de Jong, in my experience, most people who claim that Kenpo doesn't work were trying to kickbox against the kickboxer. Yes, or to a grappler, a BJJ or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a Jiu-Jitsu. They shouldn't do that. I agree. If you'd have Tiger Woods play tennis against Roger Federer, he will never win. But that doesn't mean his golf is no good. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the example. Yes, agree. Yes. So if you're gonna fight a kickboxer, use your Kenpo. Okay, and that's a good idea too. If you're a Kenpo guy and you're training to fight trained opponents, go and look for guys from other arts that you can fight with in a friendly. I'm not saying that you should go and pick up fights, okay? In a friendly scenario, and try to put your Kenpo to the test. And if you don't do any good, then you need to learn from that experience, come back and train, and then go back again and put it to the test and see if it's working or not for you. Okay. And yes, there are a lot of moves like eye pokes and stuff and that we cannot do in a fighting sports fighting scenario. Well, take that off and do the motion that you can use, but still do Kenpo. Okay. I believe that we have to see Kenpo out there. Okay. And I think Kenpo has a lot to offer in sports scenarios. But if you're one of those guys, please, congratulations and keep on doing it. Okay. It's good for everybody. Maestro Congaika says, I tell people who say that technique doesn't work. My response is, you're right, because the first or second shot would end it. So it would I wouldn't be able to finish the technique. The essence of Kenpo is the principles to refine our movements in order to enhance our power and timing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I agree, I guess, to a point. Yes, sir. But I guess sometimes, I don't know, maybe you can use the whole sequence. That's why we have that Kenpo speed, right? Okay, so you might go full speed, and before the guy drops, you might be able to throw 3, 4, 5 strikes at him. Okay, I know Mr. Kongaika moves real fast, so I bet you can throw maybe 4 or 5 strikes because before you drop the guy. I don't know. It depends on the situation, but yes, like Mr. You can, but why? Well, why not? Why if the guy's still standing up? Why if he was? What if he was able to take your 2 strikes? I mean, there has been gunfights where a guy gets 5, 10 bullets in the body and keeps on fighting. So if a guy can get 5 to 10 bullets in his body and keep on fighting, maybe he can get 2 or 3 Kenpo strikes and keep on fighting. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. But thank you, sir. And I agree with you that Kenpo does work. And ideally, you should drop the guy in the first 2 strikes or 3. And even there's a quote that of Professor William Shaw that says, if you have hit the guy more than 3 strikes and the guy hasn't dropped, you're in trouble. You're not doing things properly or something, like paraphrasing or whatever. So yes, I understand your point, sir. But also, I like that Kenpo has this sequence, this overkilling or overskilled type of movements, because it allows you to keep on flowing, keep on moving at full speed if you have to. Maybe there are multiple opponents, okay? Marshall Rao says the embryonic, mechanical, and spontaneous stages of motion. Yes, sir, thank you. A majority of individuals focus on the embryonic as proper execution of technique. It's stages to help refine your motions, a stepping stone, but the goal is spontaneous. Spontaneity, yes. Embryonic motion develops proper body alignment. Proper body alignment, proper backup mass, proper basics. Yes, thank you, sir. And the proper principles applied. Yes, thank you so much. Danny Arnold says, Mr. Larry Kongaika has eye-watering speed. Yes, of course, agree. And he's also a very nice gentleman. Thank you for commenting, everybody. I really appreciate that you guys are here sharing. Sean says all outward blocks are back knuckles to the jaw if he fails to punch. Yes. So a block. So that's why they call them striking blocks, right? Thank you, sir. Nice. So will your Kenpo work against a trained opponent? Now, if you feel that your Kenpo won't work against a trained opponent, then there's something wrong with your training, not with the art. Okay? Then you need to train harder, train smarter, right? And consider that. Okay? Because you cannot have a half-ass system or a half-ass application. Sorry about it, but because then you're not fully confident. That's what I mean. Okay? Then you have this fear. What if that guy is trained? What if he takes me to the ground? What if he knows what he's doing? What am I going to do? Well, you need to consider those things in your training and be ready for it, right? Jonathan Rojas, un abrazote gigante, siempre pendiente. Raptors Team Empalme, gracias. Saludos, maestro. Saludos, sensei. Un abrazo a toda la gente de Empalme, los kempoistas. So, can you say that your Kenpo doesn't work against a grappler and be okay with it? Could it work against a grappler or not? Would you consider learning how to grapple? Why not? It's not a bad idea. Okay? Or go with grapplers and put your Kenpo to the test. Don't wait for somebody to surprise you. If you know that art is out there, put it to the test. Put yourself to the test. It's not Kenpo that is wrong. Okay? Marshall Rao, absolutely. Thank you, sir. You guys believe that Mr. Parker didn't think of grapplers? Come on. I mean, the man was smart. He was a genius. He created an amazing art. Of course he thought about grapplers. Of course he thought about jiu-jitsu. He was a close friend of Jim LaBelle's, right? The grandfather of grappling. So if you are not feeling confident with your Kenpo, level up your game. Okay? Take your Kenpo to the next level. Learn to become spontaneous. Yes. And adapt it. Okay? Adapt it for your needs. Kenpo, it's an amazing martial art. For me, it's the best. Of course, that's my opinion because I'm a Kenpo guy. But I have trained other arts. I have trained in the Filipino arts a little bit. I have been to different seminars. I have tried, I don't know, a little bit of Aikido, a little bit of Kali or Filipino Arnis, a little bit of other type of karate, taekwondo. I looked into Russian Sistema, other arts that are very good arts, and I still prefer my Kenpo. Yes. Because Kenpo allows me to learn from all these other arts and bring it into my own way of movement. So, does Kenpo work? Is it effective against a trained opponent? Hell yes. Hell yes. But the question should be, is your Kenpo good against a trained opponent? That's a good question to ask to yourself, and you have to be honest with your answer. Marshall Rao says Mr. Parker studied judo and earned his black belt at 17. There you go. Yes, sir. He did. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And one of the things about Kenpo that Mr. Parker said a lot, you didn't want to entangle yourself with just one individual because you're thinking of multiple opponents, right? So that's a good strategy right there. Mr. Kongaika says you can't effectively use Kenpo against a grappler unless you hit with intent. Whoa. Totally agree. Otherwise, they will still come at you and take you down. Yes, sir. Yes, you could use Kenpo techniques on the ground, but we are most effective by striking and striking vital targets. Thank you, sir. Agree. Yes. Yes, you have to hit with intent. And that becomes a problem, of course. But yeah, maybe use some type of protective gear, right? Get one of those red mans or whatever, and, so you can try to apply your Kenpo moves against somebody who knows how to do a takedown or a shoot or whatever, right? And then you can start trying to apply your hand swords or, use your angles, control the distance, all of that stuff. Thank you, Maestro Kongaika. I really appreciate your comments. You're the man. Thank you, sir. So, but still, it bothers me when people say that you shouldn't do Kenpo techniques to learning how to fight. Okay, they fulfill a purpose, the techniques. like Mr. Kongaika said, they're part of the process. And it's good to learn them on both sides, right and left. Okay. It's better if you're balanced. That way you have more options. And then you should take them, like I said, to your freestyle. Take them to your sparring. So add drills. Maybe use focus mitts. Maybe do some type of Hubert drills, Hubert drill, Hubert like drills. Okay, but with Kenpo, like counter striking, right? That's a good idea. Or uh, two men, the 2-man set. Okay, that's also good. Uh, and then start adding variables and add until you get into freestyle, just free sparring. But a lot of the stuff that happens when people do sparring is they just go back into kicking and punching, very basic stuff like kickboxers. Why not try to use Kenpo? Okay, I'm not saying you guys don't. I'm just talking in general. Okay, I know some of you do, and that's great. So, but it will be nice to see more of that. Okay, uh, and to show and share how Kenpo does work against a trained opponent and an untrained assaultant too. Okay, uh, but it does work. It should work against somebody who's trained. And like I said, when you're training, you have to consider that you are going to fight or defend yourself against the baddest mofo on earth. Okay, you're not training to defend yourself against somebody who doesn't know how to fight. Then you don't need to train, or you just train basic stuff and you will be able to solve the problem. But what if the one that is trying to hurt you or attacking you is a seasoned fighter, an experienced fighter who knows what he's or she's doing? What are you going to do? Are you going to say, no, wait, Kenpo techniques doesn't work against somebody who's trained? Also important, go to the gym, work out. A fighter, when they're getting ready to fight, they go out jogging or running, right? They go to the gym. They have all this cardio workout, and then they have their fighting, and then they do sparring, and they work with the mitts, and they jump the rope, and they do all this kind of stuff, right? So do it. That's also important. Salvador Becerra says, Mr. Frank Soto, you think weight training and physical training work? Yes, of course. I do them, yes. Training exactly like Bruce Lee or Japanese action star Sonny Chiba make your Kenpo effective. I don't know how exactly they train, but yes, training, it's good, right? Yes, you should train. I go to the gym every morning. I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I go to the gym every morning at 6 o'clock, go on the elliptical machine for 30 minutes or an hour, and then do a little bit of weightlifting, and that keeps me in shape. Yes. And also taking care of what you eat, right? Be careful with your food. Now that I'm older, I need to be more careful. Otherwise, I'll get my blood sugar goes up. That's not good. So I need to control that, right? So that's why you see I've been, trimming down or losing some weight because I'm training hard. And that's something very personal, okay? You will take your art to the level you want to be. I'm just making suggestions, okay? I'm not by any means an authority and trying to tell things right. I'm just sharing opinions and sharing the guys here. We have some people that do know what they're doing, like Mr. William Larry Kongaika, Marshall Rao, and all these guys here that are talking. Thank you, Mr. Becerra. Thank you, Danny Arnold. Thank you, sir. Marcel de Jong, also a guy who knows what he's doing. All of you guys that are experts. Sean, thank you all. Miguel Arroyo, Maestro, thank you for sharing as well. And all of you guys that do know and are an authority in the art, please share your knowledge or your suggestions, your comments here, because they really help, okay? And just for everybody that's watching, take your Kenpo to the next level. Techniques are important, yes. Forms are important, yes. Sets are important, yes. Freestyle techniques are important, yes. The whole curriculum, everything, it's important. But then that's the point of reference. It's not the end, it's the beginning. Then take your Kenpo to the next level. Yes, sir. Planet Martial Arts says, hey there. Hey there. Thank you. Thank you for saying hi. Hello. Okay, so take your Kenpo to the next level. Okay. Uh, take your game to the next level. Work some drills. Get ideas from other fighters. See, for example, if you see, if you go into Thai boxing, right, and you see how they train with a lot of intensity, well, use that intensity in your Kenpo training. Okay. Go and see boxers and kickboxers, how they use the focus mitts, the heavy bag, and all those equipment. Use that. For example, look at a traditional karate. Use the makiwara. Why not? That's also a good tool. Okay. So Marshall Rao says, I agree. Mr. Kongaika and I were talking about the importance of a comfortable diet. Thanks for reinforcement of that necessary part of training. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm actually on a really strict diet right now because, well, I didn't, I misbehaved earlier in my life. So now I need to really take care of what I eat. Otherwise, my sugar blood goes up, and that's not good for my health. So I really need to take care of my health. But being disciplined in the martial arts really helps for that, because I like discipline, because that's what I learned from the art. So I'm very grateful to Kenpo for giving me that discipline. So Marshall Rao, thank you, sir. Mr. Kongaika said, Kenpo is not just physical. Yes, sir. It's a spiritual too. Many miss that particular side of Kenpo. It's the whole package of being and eating healthy and spiritually fitting your soul. Totally agree, sir. Yes, sir. So one of the first things about spirituality will be your why. Why do you train the art? Go inside. Okay. What are your inner motivation? Okay. Where do I want to take the art? What are your values? What are you learning? How are you living those values? Okay. Yes, thank you. It's physical. It's a lot of also very mental, right? You have to be smart if you want to really master Kenpo. And it's also very spiritual, actually. Yes, sir. Yes, agree. Totally. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And yes, taking care of what you eat, it's truly, truly important. Okay. So be careful with food. Be careful with doing exercise. Training in Kenpo, it's important. And I suggest that you train every day, but also working out, going to the gym, or go out and do some jogging or running or whatever. Just go out walking or do some hiking or mountain biking, whatever is it that you like, that you want to add to your cardio. But do some cardio training as well. Okay, that's also good. Sean Wall says, William Larry Kongaika, goddamn the pizza man. Yeah, I cannot eat pizza anymore either. So no pizza, no pie, no sweets, no chocolate, nada. Okay, but I already have eaten a lot of those in my previous years. So now mostly coffee, no sugar or tea. Okay. Brian Phillips says, I have seen some Kenpo schools that have poor training. Yes, sure. I have seen some boxing gyms that have not as good training either. But it's not Kenpo, it's the school. Thank you for sharing, sir. Yes. So you need to have high standards if you want to take Kenpo to a higher level. Mr. Kongaika says, we have to break the old school Kenpo molded backup mass. As we get older, we should watch our health by working out, eating healthy, and watching our portions. Yes, totally agree. Yeah, we need to change that. We need to make more fitness Kenpo. Yes, or wellness Kenpo. Okay, because what worked in the 60s and the 70s or the 80s, okay, It's different than now. Culture has changed, so society and community have changed, and standards have changed. Okay, and we tend to judge people from the 60s and the 70s with the standards of today. That's also not fair. Okay, different standards, different way of thinking. It's like cigarette. Back in the 60s, smoking was cool, and everybody was smoking everywhere. And now that we have a different type of awareness and consciousness, you know, you cannot smoke everywhere or whatever. You need to have special area, whatever. Now it's not as cool as it was before. Okay, and in today's standards, smoking is bad, right? It's bad for your health, right? I'm not judging people. I'm just saying cultural stuff, right? Okay, so the awareness has changed, and same thing with weight and with being fit and all of that. Thank you, Mr. Kongaika. Much appreciated, sir. Danny Arnold says, think of junk food as radioactive. You wouldn't eat something that's radioactive. So too, don't eat McDonald's junk either. Okay, thank you, sir. I cannot go to McDonald's, not anymore. I do like it though, I would say, but not anymore, and I don't miss it. So, and you know, lift some weights, gain some muscle. If you want backup mass, don't make it fat, make it more muscle. Okay, but I think that if you're gonna fight somebody who's properly trained, it will be really bad that you lose because you're out of condition. You're out of air. That would be sad, right? So get yourself in shape, basically. Mr. Kongaika says too many old Kenpo masters were heavy. Yes, had a lot of backup mass. Agree. It was kind of the community joke. I'm not a small guy, and I'm Polynesian, so I have to weigh myself every morning to monitor weight. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. I'm also a big guy, not as big as you, sir, not as tall, but I'm a big guy and built big, so I also need to take care of my weight and be careful of what I eat. The same discipline that we have for training, we need to have for eating and for good habits. Basically, it's all about good habits. So you need to have good dharma so you can generate a good karma. So what you do now, in the now, your actions, you need to have those good habits so it will give you a better future, health-wise, spiritual-wise, and training-wise, physically-wise. Yes, sir. Thank you. So I'm not Polynesian, but I'm Mexican, and we love our tamales, our tacos, and our tortillas. Yes, that's the way we were raised. That's the thing with culture, right? So be careful with what you eat, train hard, give it a spiritual depth into Kenpo, and make sure you're training to be able to fight a trained opponent, not just somebody who doesn't know how to fight, okay? Mr. Kongaipa says, yes, you're right. It's a discipline and life-changing style. Yes. And, you know, one of the things that I hear a lot is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle or the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle. And we don't hear that a lot about Kenpo. And Kenpo is also a lifestyle. As good or better than Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know, but as good for sure. Okay? So make it a lifestyle that works for you. Yes, thank you, sir. Salvador Becerra, Mr. Fram Soto, have you ever met martial arts practitioners obsessed with Kenpo? Yes, of course. Me, to start with, I'm Kenpo obsessed. That's for sure. And I got a lot of the guys that are sharing Kenpo here right now. They're also obsessed. But we like to say it's not an addiction. It's an autotelic activity. Look for the word, autotelic. It's a nice way to say that you're a passionate. It's not obsession, it's passion. Yes, sir. Thank you. David Donaire. Hello, master. Hello, David. Thank you. So I got to say thank you, everybody. Thank you all for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. Much appreciated. And for all of you Kenpo guys out there, don't let anybody tell you that Kenpo doesn't work. Don't let them put doubt in your mind, because doubt will play against you in a fight. Okay, you need to be confident, and confidence comes from your training and from knowing that what you do works. So put your stuff into the test at the dojo. Okay, there are ways to do that in your training. Jorge Sanchez says, saludos de Texas y vive el Kenpo. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Saludos. Viva el Kenpo. Yes, sir. Thank you. Jorge Sanchez says, love your program. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you for watching. I love this. I really do. David says, since Venezuela, Maracay, lo importante del America, what's important in American Kenpo is to look to apply the techniques and the variables to target and fighting training. Thank you, sir. Gracias. Claro que sí. Saludos. Gracias. Agree. So make sure you apply your Kenpo in fighting scenario, okay, against a trained opponent. And not just a Kenpo guy. Go and train with other guys. Like I said, look for safe environments and people you trust, okay, that you can do this with. Nowadays, there are a lot of people that are more open about this and they will let you do this, okay? And they will love to help you out and allow you to put your art and your skills mostly into the test, because it's not about your art, it's about your skills, okay? Kenpo art is a good art. It's a solid art. It's an ancient art with modern principles. Yes, but it's ancient. It's way older than a lot of you guys see. Yes, it is. So, and it's effective and it's been proven in battle many times. Okay. So it's an art that works. Okay. Mr. Parker didn't create it out of his right pocket or out of air. No, he created out of a foundation, his curriculum and his system. Okay. So we can all benefit from this. It's a good, one of the best martial arts out there, in my opinion. Jorge Sanchez, don't forget the master keys is to help in your Kenpo. Yes, sir. Master keys as well. Yes, thank you. All of that. It's all important. Danny Arnold says, agreed. I love your program, Frank. Thank you. Thank you, maestro. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. If nobody else has anything else to add or to comment, if you do, please do so. If not, I just want to say thank you for listening to me. I hope this helps. Make sure you take your Kenpo and your skills into the next level all the time. Refine the art, okay? It's not about evolving the art. It's about refinement. That's how you evolve, okay? You don't have to change all of your Kenpo. You just refine it and apply it to your needs, basically, okay? But it's perpetual refinement. That's what will take you to the next level of your mastery or your domain of your tool, of your Kenpo, or any other art that you practice, okay? So keep on refining the art, keep on taking it to the next level, and please keep on sharing here with us. Remember, we go live every Thursday. This is the time that we do so. So thank you all. Mr. Rao, salud. Thank you, sir, salud. Mr. Kongaika, great information, sir, saludos. Thank you, sir, thank you, great information. Thank you for sharing. Amy Fleming. Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Happy holidays. And I see you next week with more of this conversation. I'll look for a next topic or maybe a guest. If any of you guys are interested in being on the show, please send me a message and I will love to interview you and have you here. Thank you, sir. Jorge Sanchez says, Viva Frank, Viva Kenpo. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You guys take care. Have a great day and bye-bye.